welcome back to Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten. Today's guest is Hanna Perry. Now, it used to not be Hanna Perry. It was Hannah Ferguson. And Hanna, I view her, I forget that I'm older, but Hanna was actually born in 1998, and that is like the year after I graduated high school. So, Hanna, you've had a baby, you've gotten married in the last couple of years, so tell us about your home life.
Well, I started dating Craig in 2018, got married in 2019, kind of quick, and he immediately jumped into the horse life with me, and we were running our own little ranch and training horses, and then down the road, we ended up moving out here to Seneca to be closer to his family.
Kansas.
Yep, Seneca, Kansas.
Okay. Where were
and
y'all
then
before?
Topeka.
Topeka, okay.
Yeah.
And y'all moved to,
Ellie.
I'm so sorry. Y'all moved to Seneca to be closer to his family?
Yep.
Okay. And then, so first came love, then came marriage, then came who in the baby carriage?
Then came Ellie in March.
Okay. And
she,
go ahead.
She was born March 25th.
March 25th. Okay. So now you have always wanted to make your child's own clothes, right? Yep. Okay. So just to give y'all a little bit of some major foreshadowing, Hanna has started making her babies custom clothes, and everybody in the world wants to buy them now. Literally, she's shipping all across the United States. But before we get into
Canada.
that, and Canada. Girl, you're now in 2 countries. Woo! Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So I knew you as a youth rider. You had talked about how y'all were training horses. I met you back in the day whenever I was competing in UHCA, which is the Ultimate Horseman's Challenge Association, and also EXCA, which is the Extreme Cowboy Association. So tell us about the horses that you rode.
Well, I started out, I've been riding my whole life. I grew up riding in Mansfield, Missouri. And then when I started riding in Topeka with Cindy, I started riding her horse Dash, and she pretty much changed my entire view on the horse world. So she introduced me to cowboy style everything. I grew up doing AQHA showing style. So UHCA was definitely new for me, but definitely opened my eyes to a whole new world, whole new style. And then from Dash, I went to Dolce, and she was a mare that I was riding for a lady local. And she was one of my heart horses. She was a 3-year-old mare, and she passed away after getting hit by a truck.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, definitely was a hard loss for all of us. Everyone that knew me and that mare knew the relationship that I had with that horse. And then after Dolce, I went on working with more rescue horses because I just fell in love with rescue work after her. So another really important horse that I had was Kiki, and she now lives with another girl, but we did a lot with her. We rescued her and ended up riding her in Battle of the Breeze.
Okay. All right. So let's back up just a little bit. So you said that you rode with Cindy. What's Cindy's last name?
Cindy Branham.
Cindy Branham. Now, she specializes in working equitation, and she does a lot with Mustangs.
Oh, yeah.
Her horse, Dash, that you were riding, was that a Mustang?
No, he was a paint horse.
Okay.
That she actually bred herself, so he was one of her babies.
Okay. And then Dolce was just a grade horse?
Yep, just a little grade quarter horse. She was really small. I believe she came, some random person sold her from the back of a truck, and she ended up in a rescue, and I was working with that rescue owner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was doing a lot of work for them, riding their horses.
Well, and you know what? Like, okay, so at Von Holten Ranch, we have a herd of like 5 animals, okay? And in our herd, the amount of money that I paid for those 5 animals is like $1,700 total, okay? $1,700 for those 5 animals. But the amount of money that has been offered to me is $42,000 that I have turned down for each one of those added up. So a lot of people, they will only ride a registered animal. And of our 5 animals, one of them is registered, but he is a gelding, which means that he is a boy horse that's no longer able to breed. So, like, it doesn't even matter that he's registered because we ain't going to do nothing with that. I mean, he's kind of like, his lineage was done, okay? But, so rescue horses, like, we've had horses that they get into the wrong hands, and sometimes it's not malicious. It's just people don't know. So you said that Dolce was hit by a truck. So I had a horse named Chalkboard. And I write children's books, and each one of my books has it's character education. And the 3rd book, the main character is Chalkboard. Well, Chalkboard was a grade mare because she didn't ever get papers put on her. And her book is about how having a bad childhood does not define you as an adult, okay? Well, in her real life, I took this horse that was a little bit older, that wasn't ever trained, and then trained her. She took more time because she was a little bit older. But then we ended up winning like this reserve champion in the greenhorn division in this one association at their nationals. But the amount of time that I had to spend on that horse was equal to about 2 horses' time of training, okay? And I own this trail riding facility, and she was kind of a hog for my time, even though I loved her. Well, we used to have an intern named Gunner that he is working this cattle operation for his grandparents, and he needed a horse. So I actually sold him Chalkboard because she needed a job. She needed to be rode more consistently, and I needed to not own her because I loved her so much. I was putting too much time into her. Anyways, Chalkboard got the name Chalkboard because she's jet black and you can ride on her with sidewalk chalk. Well, she ended up getting out and totaled someone's car. But you know how Dolce passed away? Chalkboard did not. Do you know that mare, I mean, it did break her leg, but it was like a long linear break, like up and down, and it was able to heal up. So Chalkboard is the only horse I know that totaled a car and lived. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but people don't realize, like I know, we've been open now for like 7 years, and I know of it like 4 or 5 horses that have been hit by vehicles. Like, people do not think about that at all. So, anyways, okay, so you and Craig, y'all had Craig and Hanna Horsemanship, which is CHH, okay, originally. Yeah. But now you and Craig are, your CHH is the name of your clothing company, right?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, and photography.
And photography. You and I, it's hard to explain you and I because we have different avenues. A lot of times people are like, I'm an accountant or I'm a doctor. And we're just like, I do this, I do that, I used to do this. It's just a lot for people. Sometimes that's why I love doing these podcasts. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I've always been told I have too many irons in the fire my whole life, but I never quit.
You know what? I don't agree with that. I know that a lot of people, they put their expectations on others, and I enjoy, I think I have some like adult ADHD or something, but I enjoy not doing the same thing, and I think I like doing different things. Like it's creative.
Oh, yeah, me too. I love being able to try and learn new things and have all that experience.
Right. Well, let's get to know Hanna just a little bit more. Okay, so you have your CNA. So you were a certified nurse's assistant?
Yep.
Did you like doing that? Did you work at a nursing home or anything?
I've worked at a nursing home, but primarily I actually did in-home care with dementia residents.
Okay.
And I specifically worked for one lady for a year. And when she passed away, I just didn't really want to continue working in that field and moving on to someone else. I really loved that lady and definitely learned a lot from her.
Okay.
So after that, I went to full-time dispatching.
Yeah. You had went to, was it Washburn University for a semester and a half or a year and a half, or how long was it there? A semester and a half, and you were a criminal justice major?
Yep.
You know, Hanna, like a lot of times I meet people and I never realize how many parallels that we have. Like I have 3 college degrees and my second one was in criminal justice. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. I actually worked at a law enforcement training facility before, and it's called a PR-24. It's like a defensive nightstick. I was an instructor in that. So a lot of people...
I had no idea.
Yeah, a lot of people, there's like a little segue. But the only reason I have that second college degree is because I had cancer, and I didn't find out until the month I graduated with my first college degree. But then I had to be on my mom's insurance. I had to be a full-time student. So college was really hard for me, okay? Like it took 5.5 years to get my first 4-year degree, and I did not have some beautiful GPA, okay? And then I had to re-enroll the very next month. I didn't even get like 2 weeks off, and then I had to be another full-time college student. And I'm like, no.
Wow.
So, and then you did dispatching. Did you like being a dispatcher?
Oh, yes. I loved it. Probably one of the best jobs I ever had was being a dispatcher. And I dispatched for 911, Shawnee County. So we did Sika, Shawnee County, fire, police, sheriff.
Okay. Okay, so you have told me before that you had either you were going to start to go back to college to become a teacher, or you had enrolled.
Yeah, I had started, and then I found out, I enrolled, and then I was in it for about 2 weeks, and then I found out I was pregnant.
Okay.
And so I quit going to school, and I actually got a teaching job instead.
You got a teaching job after you quit going to college to become a teacher?
Yep. I started tutoring for K through 6, but my highest level was 4th. So I actually tutored and basically taught these kids some literacy and math skills, and then also did music and movement for kindergartners.
Okay. Do you know, one of my very best friends, like, she looks a lot like me. Like, we're about the same height. We're about the same, well, she weighs less than me, but we look, we're both round. And she got put into a magazine one time. Like, one of the magazine owners thought it was a picture of me, and she got like a half a page in this magazine before. Anyways, her name is Mallory. Mallory just got hired to teach at a private school. And she has an associate's degree, but I always thought that teachers had to be a certified teacher, but in private schools, that's not the case. I didn't know that. I did not know that either. I was
shocked that I was able to tutor without an actual degree, but I mean, we did a lot teaching wise for these kids, and we just used, I had experience teaching with horses and everything else.
Right.
And that's why they hired me. But yeah, no teaching degree.
Well, whenever I first started, I was a school teacher for 11 years. I taught science, but whenever I got hired as a school teacher, I had a degree in biology with a minor in physics, and I had a degree in criminal justice, but I didn't have a teaching degree. But they allowed me to start teaching because I started my master's in my master's in teaching. But it was an alternative teacher certification, so it took 2 years until I was a quote unquote certified teacher, and then I also got my master's at the same time. I think the alternative teacher certification, it ended about 2 or 3 classes before the master's. So after I finished the alternative teacher certification, I just finished up those last couple of classes. But, I wasn't even a certified teacher for the first 2 years. So, and now with, the world being as crazy as it has been in the last couple of years, I know that the teaching world is hurting. There's been so many stipulations put on the teachers, and I know a lot of them are leaving the profession. And so
definitely.
I bet there's going to be all sorts of do you have a heartbeat? Yes, can you come teach this class? I bet whenever, or to allow people to, continue their education and start teaching at the same time. I'm sure they'll be just a little bit more lenient, especially with the younger grades. So
definitely. I mean, just with COVID and everything, they were having trouble keeping schools open, not because of COVID, but because of staffing.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Okay, so we've learned a little bit about you. You were a CNA, and then you were with a lady that ended up passing away. Then you ended up wanting to leave that, and then criminal justice, and then was a dispatcher, and then the wanting to become a teacher, and you said that you might possibly go back to college like you want to. So
I definitely would love to one day.
Okay, so let's tell people a little bit more about, you had a boyfriend before Craig that was named Justin. Now, Justin ended up passing away in an ATV accident. Is that correct?
Yep.
And that was actually Cindy Branham's son, the one that you were training with. So, man, I was devastated, and I know whenever Cindy's son passed away, it was around the time that my niece passed away, so I've always kind of felt connected to her because we were going through a lot of those same emotions, but not to the same degree of what she was going through at the same time. But Craig is actually Justin's cousin.
Yeah.
So, that's probably why y'all's relationship was able to move a little bit faster, is because you had already been around Craig.
Definitely. It's kind of funny because, before Justin had passed, I started hanging out with Craig a few years later, but, I never really thought twice about Craig.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of a nerdy little dorky kid back then. And then
he's not now, girl. You married a Paul Bunyan with some red hair. Craig has.
And then a couple years later, I posted on my Snapchat story on Justin's birthday, or maybe it's the day before, and I said, does anyone want to ride today? Because I wanted someone to hang out with that day. And he came over, and I took one look at him when he came out of his car, and I was like, yep. I'm going to date him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Craig done grown up.
Yeah. So.
Oh, my God. I need to remind myself that you were born the year after I graduated high school. I cannot say Craig grown up, okay, because he could be my child. What year was Craig born in?
97.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like 6 months older than me, I think.
Okay. All right, so so Hanna has been in my Big Boss Mare goal setting group it's 100 days long at the beginning of the year, and we really try to share how we're being organized and get chugging along, and then you signed up for the second session, and next year I'm just going to have the first session, but allow everybody to stay in that same group. That group, I feel so secure in there, and I only allow a maximum of 25 people to join. But I feel that group gets to know and see more things than everybody else in the world gets to see, because I needed a group where I could actually get information from, and I could share ideas, and I could, try to stay motivated, because a lot of people can get motivated, but they can't stay motivated. And I struggle with that as well. So this group really helps me with like making sure I stay on task. And you are a product of the people the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, in today's world, a lot of times you're not physically around someone. So that goal setting group is like a goal setting sisterhood. But that's where Hanna was part of that. And I have got, I don't have a child, right? But Hanna has started making these baby clothes, and they are adorable. So let's talk about the baby clothes for a little bit.
So I started sewing in, is it a late April or late May or early June? And I had a sewing machine for a while that my grandma gave me. And she had taught me how to sew, back when I was a tween, like 12. And I sewed some dresses, and then I kind of didn't really touch it anymore after that because I was a teenager and I was in high school. And then my grandma got dementia, and she's still alive, but she has dementia, and she gave me her sewing machine and said, I want you to have this because I know you always talked about wanting to make your baby clothes, and she remembered that, but she can't teach me how to use it anymore. So I told her, I was like, when I get time, I'm going to sit down and learn again. And so a few months passed. I had Ellie, and then once it kind of died down a little bit, the excitement from the new baby, I got to work and kind of haven't stopped sewing since. And now I make baby clothes, toddler clothes, adult clothes, doll clothes.
Okay, so you have you've made bell bottoms for babies. Okay, they are. I'm over here like, I wonder if she can make me some bell bottoms. I know she's gonna have to use some fabric, but those are cute. And then it'll be like a matching bow. But you also make something called a bummy. So what's a bummy?
A bummy is just like basically short baby underwear. They're really great because you can put them over diapers. If you want your baby to just run around the house naked, you can throw a bummy over their diaper. So they're not just in a diaper.
Right. So it just kind of classes it up a little bit.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And they're cute, and you can put them with anything.
Now, you're also making like not jumpers, or you making like sweatpants also, or sweatpants sets?
Right now, the most popular things that people want is joggers, skinnies, which are like leggings, and then sweaters.
Okay. What kind of fabric? Do you use wool, or do you use cotton, or do you use spandex?
I pretty much work with any type of fabric. For the sweaters, I have quite a few different knit fabrics. They're just cotton poly blends. And then for the bummies and leggings and joggers, I usually use double brushed polyester, which is, double brushed polyester. It's polyester blend. And then they brush it on both sides, which makes like this really, really, really tiny fuzz. So it's a warm, soft fabric. And it's probably the most requested fabric that I use in my shop. And then there's also bullet fabric, which is a textured one, and that's what I do the most bummies with.
Okay. Now, these fabrics, this ain't just some fabric that you're going to be able to get, and prints that you're going to be able to get at Joann's, right? Joann's Fabric Shop, or at Walmart. No. You're getting custom prints, right?
Shop.
Do what?
Yeah, so I use a few from Joann's. I do fabric store orders every now and then when people want something quick. But the majority of my fabric is all custom printed. So I either find a design somewhere, or I buy already pre-printed fabric from shops here in the U.S. that print fabric.
Okay. Now you have grown this business. Now your baby's only 7 months old. Okay. So like this has like snowballed, like just
Yeah.
down the steepest hill ever. And like, oh my goodness, you told me the other day, you came over and we worked because I wanted to, I find that whenever I sit down with another entrepreneur and we just work beside each other, we get so much more done than a phone call. Because a phone call, you're going to jack around and do your own stuff while you're working and kind of tune out a little bit. So you told me that you are cutting fabric like for like 2 days. One day is like shipping, and like you're doing sewing 2 days. Like this is turned into like a more than full-time job.
Yeah, I can't keep up with the orders. I have reached the point where I either have to make changes in order to grow, or I'm going to limit myself, because I have people who want to order, and I'm at the point where I'm like, look, you're going to have to give me a few.
Yeah.
And I mean, even on this phone call right now, I'm cutting fabric.
Right. Well, that's okay. Like, please cut away. I want you to keep cutting because I want people to be able to get these amazing prints and stuff for Christmas or for whatever holiday they want them, because it doesn't have to be a Christmas gift. It can be a birthday gift. It can be you just want your baby to look the best, like the best looking baby ever with these clothes on.
Yeah.
So
I have a few customers who get all their clothes here pretty much, and then I actually have a birthday dress I'm about to sew.
So tell me, you have 15 representatives right now. So tell me how the representatives work, or the reps is what you call them.
So my reps, I actually kind of run my rep program a little different than most rep programs. So we have a little group chat in Facebook Messenger, and they are my go-to for pretty much anything I have customer service related with my business. So if I want to know what prints I need to release, if there's something I need to change with my clothing, if there's a flaw, if I need to change something with my website, I go to them. And not only that, most of my reps have been with me for the long run. I have 3 who have been with me since I started, and all the other ones, I mean, I think I've lost 2 in the duration. And I mean, we've become really close friends. We have a whole separate little mommy chat now, and we talk all the time, and they share my business. They just support it in every way that they can, whether it's helping answer questions or it's sharing it on Facebook or purchasing themselves. I mean, they're my team.
You know, Hannah, so something that you and I had talked about in person whenever we were working together is some of my biggest supporters, I've never met them, or 95% of our interactions are online. I mean, some of like the people that I call and talk to, or that are always like, sharing my stuff with the world, are, people that I don't get to see very often. Yeah, I mean, like some of my biggest supporters are not in my life every day. Is that
Definitely
something that you find?
So I think out of all my reps, I think I've only met one in person, maybe 2, if I can remember right. And she was actually a photography client, and the rest have all been just finding through Facebook. Some are in Topeka, so they're a little more local, and there's a few more around the Seneca area. But then I also have one rep in Arkansas. I've got one in Texas. I've got one in Canada. Yeah, I mean, they're all over. And honestly, the one in Texas and the one in Arkansas are 2 people that I really feel like I can rely on and are good friends now.
So for you,
I've never met them.
And you've never met them. I know you've never got to sit down and go out and eat Taco Tuesday together, But I will tell you, I believe in your business, and man, I wish that. I mean, like, how close are y'all to Craig getting to come home and working with you?
We're not far from it. I mean, we struggle with a few things. It's kind of scary to take the leap of having his full-time income and leaving that. to run our own business from home. But at the same time, for the past, 4 or 5 years, I have been working a business from home, whether it was horses or photography or sewing. I've always got something going on, and now I've found my niche where it's working year round. It doesn't matter if it's summer or winter, people need clothing.
Well, and you know what? That is so cool that you're like, I have something that's year round, because with us having this horse trail riding facility, we're not year round. I mean, like, we've diversified we have a wedding venue also, but then that also slows down during the winter. But now with our online classes that I'm able to instruct, and then also with the new business that we're launching called Building with David, where my husband sends children like project kits with all of the wood and all of the things they need, and then they can build with him online. We're hoping to bridge that gap of winter. Winter is scary for a business that is self-owned, that is seasonal.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, with you being in the horse world, I know you can't work horses if you're 6 feet buried in snow, or if it's like 15 below. It's just not advantageous to be riding horses and training them. So,
yeah, and even with photography, I mean, in the summer, I'm going to have clients, every week. But then when it comes winter, if I don't have an indoor studio, I'm not going to have the clients that I need to support my family. And, that's why we kind of strayed away from it a little bit.
Well, and I've seen, your photography. You were a photographer for our Country Tough Trail Versatility National Championship, and you took wonderful photos. You took photos of me in a parade with this big, massive yellow foam hat on my mule, and I had a little pink cowboy hat on my horse. And, those photos will end up in my 4th children's book with the horse named Glamour in there, because Glamour she doesn't win anything, but she's good at everything. So that book is about it's okay to be okay, and she's also my smallest horse, but she's my most reliable, useful horse. So it's about size doesn't matter. So
definitely,
yeah. Okay, so Hannah, how do people get in touch with you? How do they order or get onto this list that's getting a little bit longer each day? Okay.
So I have a few ways that you can order or contact me. The biggest way is going to be through our VIP group, and it's CHH Creations VIPs on Facebook. And then we also just have a normal Facebook page, which is CHH Creations. And then I recently hired a gal to do a website for me, and I have just launched my website this past week. So there is a contact page on there as well, and that's just CHH.com. And then you can always message me on Facebook Messenger, but I do prefer that you go through the website if possible.
So let's not even tell them to message you on Messenger. Go back to that page, because you were talking way too fast for me. It's CHH Creations, and then what do they find on Facebook? Like a VIP, or what do they find?
Yeah, so it's the word CHH Creations VIPs on Facebook, and basically it's a little VIP group where I will post, first dibs at deals, in stock fabric. You'll get to do or watch lives with me where I just kind of sew and chat with people late at night. There's a lot of stay-at-home moms who are up late at night with their babies, and we just talk sometimes. You can also find discounts from our rep codes. All of our reps have a unique discount code, which can save you a percentage off your order, and you can only find those codes in the group.
Okay. Now, just because I want to make sure and be clear, because I want everybody in the world to come and buy clothes from you, okay? So it's the letter C, and then you write out the word double. So DOUBLE, and then the letter H, and then Creations with an S on it, correct?
Yep.
And then dash VIPs. So it's VIPS?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Facebook page. And then the website that has contact information is CHH.com.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Hanna, so let me ask you this right here. Whenever you came to Von Holten Ranch and you worked the other day with me, was there anything that now, after, having enough time to absorb and everything, is there anything that you think that I could be doing differently or better, or like an area that you see for growth?
I think that you should look into getting a rep program. I think that it would be extremely beneficial for your business, and not only your business, just for you personally, to help get you off the internet sometimes. Having a rep program for me means that I don't have to be on Facebook every day. I don't have to go and post every day, because I have 15 women who can do that for me now, and I don't have to pay them.
Okay.
I mean, it's a way to trade advertisement for, a special discount on a stay or a trail ride or something like that. I think just having some more free time would definitely lessen this load of stress. And also, I haven't seen a rep program for a trail riding business before.
Okay. Well,
so it would be very unique to your business, I think.
I might be able to do one for the Building with David, or do one with, because I have children's books, I have coloring books, I've got finger puppets that are horses that match my books. I mean, I have my Big Boss Mare group, and I make personal planners. I have equine logbook. I mean, I have, anyways, if people wanted to look up all that stuff, and like if somebody wanted to come to me as a rep, if they can spell Brandy with a Y, and then my last name is VonHolten, so brandyvonholten.com. I mean, I would be down for a rep, most definitely for my own personal stuff, and then for the Building with David. And if they wanted to look at that, it's buildingwithdavid.com. I would be down for that. And so whenever, after seeing your business and everything, man, I think and the only thing I worry about, y'all, you being young and you got the baby, is insurance. Like, I know that kind of sounds crazy and everything, and I do, but man, I know so many people that would not just jump into the business, but as soon as you quit that job where you're working for someone else, you get super motivated to be highly successful. And I think that Craig could come on. He doesn't have to sew. Oh my gosh, he could be in charge of cutting all the fabrics and mailing, and then responding to people. I mean, do you know how much time it takes to respond to people? But that's what we're trying to do as entrepreneurs. We're trying to get our product out there. We need them to ask questions and stuff. But yeah,
definitely.
I wouldn't be afraid of it. Von Holten Ranch, whenever we did this thing right here, we quit two jobs that were amazing. I left a teaching career where I was making, it was one of the school districts that's highly sought after. And then my husband left a job where he was a manager of a tool rental store, but they also gave him a truck with a fuel allowance. It's really hard to leave. Combined, we were making, we were bringing home over $100,000 a year, and we were like, this is good money for two people without children. And we left two jobs working 40 hours for both of us to work 80, but we love it. We love working for ourselves, and it is stressful, but I don't know.
I think a huge benefit of it is, there's some days where she hangs out with a neighbor girl, but my daughter doesn't have to go to daycare.
Right.
She gets to stay home with her mom every day while I still work a full-time job, and I get to do everything with her. I get to see all of her first moments, and I hope that in the near future, Craig will get to join me in that.
Right.
I think that's probably the biggest benefit and the biggest reason why I do it. I want to be a stay-at-home mom, but I also love working.
I love to work. You know, a lot of people don't understand that, but I literally love working. I know that might sound weird to some people, but like I'm very task oriented, I'm goal oriented, and I love to produce. I love to do things. I
Exactly.
I can't wait for your clothes to get into a store because I know they will. I
So
believe.
I've actually had 2 offers now to do that. One of them came when I had first started. It was like a month into my business. But I was only working with cotton woven material still, so I declined. And then a few months ago, I had another person reach out to do like a little booth in their store because they have a couple different boutiques in one building. And it's definitely been on my mind. But I think before I do that, I'm, more interested in having my own little shop.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a goal of mine.
Yeah. So, well, Hannah, I will tell you that, you have my attention, right? There's a lot of people that I have contact with, and I'm over here like, I can't get enough of Hanna Perry. I called one of my I called Lee Hart, which you've trained with before, one of my horse trainers, and I was like, Lee Hart. I was like, Hanna Perry's doing some cool stuff, man. I was like, she's smart. I was like, she is literally smart. And I told him about your baby clothes, and he was like, what? I was like, dude, she's making custom baby clothes, and they are ridiculous, okay? And, like, for a woman that's in her 40s that never had kids to get pumped up about these clothes, girl, I can't wait for people to, like, get an ounce of interest and go look at them bell bottoms with Wrangler on them. Oh my God, those are so cute. So
now I will say that the Wrangler. So part of what I've been struggling with my business is kind of learning what I can print, what I can sew,
yeah,
and what I can sell. And so I've definitely been looking into different licenses because that Wrangler pair of bell bottoms was for my daughter.
Right.
Personal use. So I hope that in the future I can get, more licenses to do licensed prints and offer more of those. Right now, when I do them, they're not really advertised just because yeah.
Yeah, you have to watch stuff. Girl, do you know I had like this all-around cowgirl competition, and I wanted to use the Wonder Woman logo. Okay, I had to call like 2 different businesses in 2 different states. They had to give me written permission to be able to use that, and I had to tell them exactly what I was doing with it. But I got permission to use the Wonder Woman logo on some ribbons.
I've been working on learning, what exactly I have to do. I know that I have to stay away from Disney prints right now.
Right.
But there are some smaller logos where they're, not worried about it. But I definitely want to look into getting to work with bigger brands because Wrangler example, I don't know where I can get my baby a pair of Wrangler pants that are bell bottoms and cute like that. And
right.
So definitely something that I hope that I can add in the future.
Well, and that's like, my horse, the main character of my first children's book, his name is KTM. Well, KTM is a brand of dirt bike, but he was named after my husband used to race dirt bikes, so he was named after that. But KTM has not come after me yet for that. But my horse's registered name is KTM, so I'm like, dude, I own this. I got it registered and everything, But no, you have to pay attention to that stuff. You can't just go around and do some crazy stuff, you have to just get permission. And a lot of times it's just contacting them and they'll say, yeah, we don't care,
Yeah, and I'm learning more about, the paperwork side of running a business as well, because with my photography, it's not something I've really had to worry about. And, now I've been doing a lot more research and, because I want my business to be a real thing. Mm-hmm. I don't want it to just be this thing I'm running out of my house. I want it to be a shop. I want it to be a professional, real business. And so I'm doing everything that I can to achieve that.
Well, and I've always been told that a slow growth is a real growth, so it's okay if it takes you a little bit to get to a store, or it's okay if it takes a little while to get the shop, because then you've put your time in, you know what I mean? You don't want to have something that you explode into and then we grew too fast. Because if you grow too
Been there,
fast,
done that.
if you grow too fast, you fall fast. So, okay. Well, thank you, Hanna. And just to remind everybody, the website is cwh.com, or her Facebook page is CWH Creations-VIPs. All right. Thank you for tuning in to Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten.